hitting the echo. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome. This is AJ the CEO with Church Post Production episode 12. Yeah, we're at 12 now. So sorry about the echo. So I didn't do anything last week because I know the majority of people are watching the Super Bowl. Hold on, let me turn my light on. All right, so that's better. So I didn't do anything then because everybody was watching the Super Bowl and didn't want to distract y'all with that. So had a week off. So let's get back into it. This is AJ again, the CEO here, and what I do is on Sundays I host a church post-production to try and help and share the stuff that I do from a media ministry standpoint to get our stuff on social media, all this other stuff. It's kind of like an impromptu, kind of like a little training that I do, as well as I'm here monitoring the chat. So if y'all ever decide to get up on here and talk with me, I can see what y'all are thinking and kind of share the thoughts we got going back and forth. And let me actually pop out my chat so that I can have it here. And then we got that's here, and where's my other chat? My other chat's right here. So right now I stream on Vimeo and YouTube, so I'm looking at either one. But I think what we're going to do is I'm kind of share with some stuff I did yesterday. Yesterday I got called in to a church to do a kind of a media ministry training. This is one of the churches I've worked with recently where I built them a video editing computer because they had a camera in their church, but it was pretty much they were just recording. So hopefully they're watching. I actually need to share this with them. But pretty much I'm going to be sharing with y'all what I normally do in my stream here, but at the same time want to kind of do a workflow type of thing that I do as well for those who are just now getting started. And excuse me for getting something to drink. I am a little bit parched. All right, so let me see if I can invite some folks here just to make sure. And I did not share this on my regular Facebook, so give me a half a second. But while I'm doing this, like I said, I'm here in the chat. How was church today for all of y'all? How did everything flow? Hopefully it went well for y'all. It was kind of typical for me. It was kind of up and down, but hey, such is the nature of how the stuff that we do from a media ministry standpoint. So trying to invite some people here who are at one of the churches I was at. And we do that. And I got another friend. She wanted me to help her with some DaVinci Resolve stuff. So we're going to kind of go over two things at the same time. So let me close out all of my junk here so that I can get to working. So one of the important things is especially churches who ever had a tape ministry or CD ministry is where we have to be mindful of how we're going to start storing this stuff. And that was kind of what led into what I helped with another church. And so, for example, most churches, if you have like a basic camcorder up to a studio camera and you don't have a full setup, most likely you're storing the video footage on something like this, a memory card. And this app actually happens to be our service today from our hyperdeck that we record on. So what's the first thing that we need to do? So let me clean my desktop off here so y'all can actually see what I'm doing here. Let's switch over to here and let me bring my picture in picture so you can see me. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to walk through how I do storage. Now, again, this is a little bit different because I do way more stuff from video and content. So I have multiple NASs, network attached storage. That is a network version of a USB hard drive. So it's significantly larger than the other drives out there. And let me see here. So if I come here to my network here, let's let's close that. Well, actually, that was it. But I have two Synology NASs. One is around like 10 terabytes, and then another one is, so these are my two, a DS216J and a DS418. So what I have with those, let me open up one. Oh, no, I didn't want to go there. We're going to go to the actual drive here. So I have a whole bunch of my stuff here that I store, whether it be business stuff, photos, and all this other stuff, client work, my stuff here that I do for videos and things like that. But then I also have, if I can actually type, have another one for all my other stuff. And originally I had this one, and then I moved it. So I use this to back up my PlayStation, have network software that I've downloaded, photos, music, all this other stuff like that. So, and I closed it way too fast. So what I do is actually, when I import data, video, this is where I store everything. So that's where I'm leading off to this. So I was helping another church with how they just have a bunch of these, and we were helping them how to actually start archiving and keeping their data structure together. Now, it's one thing really simple to do this, but I want to add some extra context to this whole thing, because it's very simple for me just to do that. I want to add some more to it. So let me go ahead and go into our church's account. And I've done this before, share it with y'all before. What you want to start off with, especially if you're getting into video and everything like that, you have to start archiving your stuff and documenting it so that you actually can know what you have, where it's located, and all this other stuff. So I'm going to just share with you what we do. So we have this spreadsheet. We were using Google Docs, but we use Zoho for our stuff. So I've been transitioning over. Does the same thing. It's a spreadsheet type of application that's on the web. So what we do is, for every year, we have our date, our service time, the scripture that we're collecting, who is the preacher, what's the title. So this was today's. And then I have our kind of a checklist of what we have to do of, is it on YouTube? Is it on Vimeo? Is it on demand? Podcast? Is a DVD available? Used to have Blu-ray on there. That's only for very, 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 very special occasions. And then comments. So what we do is, this is what we collect, but when we make our video, we have everything assorted by the date. So everything that's going to be made today is going to be 02/10/2019. So that's how we do that. So now, if we have multiple services in the day, we'll even add the time at the end. So that way it's very unique for each one. So what we do is, if you don't have one, I was assuming you have it, you can have multiple. I have a memory card reader here. That's the one I used to have, and this is my old memory card. Let me move that aside so I don't mix these up. Then I have something like this, which is another type of card reader. So this is the same type that I helped another church with. So very straightforward. Boom, put that in there. And I'm going to share with you my storage strategy with the Synology. And you can do this in any type of way. So I'm just walking you through how I actually import and archive stuff. So this is my media dump that I have, which could be on your D drive for the church I'm helping. This is actually on your D drive, but then you can set this up anywhere. I just happened to, once I started using up a whole lot of space with 4K, drone footage, church services, funerals, all this other stuff, I needed more space. So that's what this is. So what I do is I just come in here and make a date. And that's 2/10. And then inside of this, I will have a specific folder based off of the information that I'm using. So since this is coming from my church, the ATEM, I will actually just call that ATEM. Or if I had video from my camera, I would call it the specific camera. If it was from my drone, if it was from my phone video, if it was just audio only, like when I'm doing video announcements for church, and I just have a voiceover. People will record their voice on their phone and just email me the audio. I just do some type of organization based on the date, and that way I can always go back to that. All right, so again, I don't need these because I'm only using this. All right, so now with that being said, here's my media that showed up, and I actually did this a little different today. I actually hit the record button twice to separate where the sermon starts, so it should make this a lot easier and faster to do the video editing for this. So there's multiple ways you can do this. I mean, you can just highlight, copy it, and drag it to that location, or you could do an import. So I'm just going to right click on, let me move this over so you can see. I'm just going to right click on my media drive, which is the USB adapter, do autoplay, and we want to do import. Now again, mine is a little bit different, but normally it should tell you where to install everything, but because mine is different, it doesn't like that. So normally you can just right click on it, do import audio and video, photos and video, and it will store it into the drive that you've had designated. So mine is different for whatever reason. Should actually act the same way, but I don't know why it is. Anyway, I'm just going to navigate to my drive here, go to that same folder that I made, which is the 10th. That's supposed to be like that and like that, so that makes it easier. So here's all my data here. I'm just going to highlight those, and I'm going to right click and drag over to here. Right click and drag will make it move by default. And like I said, these are pretty big files, so it's going to take a while for that to move over. So once that's done, and it should actually go a lot faster because like I said, I split this up. That's really it. Now, by me moving it, it's actually removing it from the memory card, so it's going to be clean for me to run this again next Sunday. We have two SD cards that we rotate out in the HyperDeck Studio Mini. Yeah, HyperDeck Mini. It's 2 slots. So we have slot A, slot B. This was in slot A. We rotate the card so that we're constantly rotating the card, so we're not just using one over and over again. These cards are pretty big, 128 gigs, so it's plenty of space, but as you can see, one service is about 44 gigs, because I need to check the setting on that. I think it's uncompressed, so that's why it's using up so much space. But most of y'all's stuff shouldn't be that big, and hence that's the reason why I needed multiple space for mine, because this stuff is humongous. Moving these type of files over, and I'm bringing my chat back up here so I can see if anybody's here. All right, so while that's going on, we're going to come back to that. So I am a big fan of Envato. Most people know that because I use this for a lot of stuff. And what I'm actually planning on doing is using their new stuff that's available, because it's the beginning of the month. Actually, I'm late on this, but at the beginning of every month at Envato.com, they give you free samples of every one of their tree of services. So if we come down here to the bottom, here, see, these are your free files for the month. So I'm liking this one. I think I'm going to actually update our church intro with this. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it today because I need to get some more footage, get some more aerial footage or some more still imagery. But this is one of the things that's really good that you can actually use to make intros, eye-catching intros. They also have music, which if you are at the beginning, I actually use some of the music for that. 3D Architects, if you use that, and it's going to get loud here in a second. I have some nieces and nephews getting ready to walk in here in a second. Got some music as well. You have websites. You have some type of background and code. You also have some resume stuff if you wanted to do that. So that's why I bounced through all this stuff. So like I said, in a later video, I'm actually going to use this to change an intro video pretty soon. And I'm actually just stalling for time because I'm waiting for these files to get copied over, because like I said, we're going to do a lot of this stuff moving on. So from a stage one, from a organization for a workflow, I will come in and I'm going to use the church as example. I'm not going to say their name because I didn't get permission to actually say their name. But pretty much what they have is they don't have a lot of people in their media ministry. So what they do is they start recording of the service, and most of them are either singing in the choir or doing other activities in the church, and it's just a wide shot, which is nothing wrong with that. You have to start where you're at. So they record that, and then at the end of the service, they go back upstairs, turn the camera off, stop recording. So that was normally their workflow. So now what we've introduced is what we just did. We're going to take the memory card, take it to their computer, import it, and then just put it in their digital filing cabinet, their archive that's been established on a computer. And that's their phase one, because we're in the training of them understanding how to do basic video editing to turn those videos into a quality product to be given to sick and shut in, for their missionaries when they go out and talk, or whatever type of capacity they're going to use that for. So again, don't ever, the whole purpose of this channel is to actually educate your media ministry. And one of my big tenets that I try and help you with is don't be intimidated by other churches. The fact that, oh, you think you need to have $100,000 or millions of dollars in tech and gear to do that. You don't need to do that. All you have to do, there are plenty of free programs out there that will give you the ability to produce a quality product, as well as being able to have a good digital footprint to share the mission, the message, or whatever that your church is broadcasting. That's what this is all about, is to share with the community, each other, so we can learn from each other and to up our game on whatever level it is. Whether you're starting with just your iPad and you want to enhance that, all the way up to, hey, I'm video editing and we're just throwing our stuff online, or we're getting into live streaming. We try to help and cover this the entire time, and I'm just showing you through the journey of what actually we've done at our church, because we've only been live streaming for maybe about a year and a half, but we've been transforming our media ministry over the last 7 years. So kind of want to share the tips and stuff that we've been learning over that time, so hopefully you can get that stuff faster instead of having to take 7 years to get there. All right, so this is going to take a while, so let's go over to, I am obviously on a Windows computer, and I'm going to go over here to the Microsoft Store. So this other church, they, even though their computer is fast enough to do this, what we have them starting out on is actually Windows Movie Maker. Now, Movie Maker used to come with every Windows computer for free, but for some odd reason, the version that they have only allows you to do 720p, and you can't even save the project, which I am clueless on why that is. But hey, what I want to do is, while this is copying, I want to walk through just a simple way to just add just a little bit more professionalism to the video, or putting your content out of what you're going to do in church. So let's go ahead and launch this, because I already had it downloaded. No, I don't want the paid version. And so we're here, and the first thing we're going to do is, you have all this stuff, and we're not even going to really even do any of this. This is just simple version of what we're going to do. So let's actually go back, and we're going to go to one of my favorite tools that I tell y'all about all the time, which is canva.com. And what we're going to do is just make ourselves an intro. So what's a kind of production tip that we can use if we're going to do our video stuff? Think about the last movie that you watch. When you started, does it just boom, just go right directly into the subject matter if you're watching? No, you have some type of intro, something like that. So from a church standpoint, the easiest thing you can do is just have a picture of your church and the name of your church and some type of information. So we're going to just walk through something like that. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and just find myself a random picture of a church that I have used before. And I'm using pexels.com for that. And I like this kind of, well, let's use this one. This one looks nice. So let's download this one. And let's go back over here to Canva. So what we're going to do is, we're going to type in the search desktop wallpaper, mainly just because that's 1080p. the resolution, the height and width, and we're just going to use a blank canvas. So let's pull our image up here, and sorry, it looks like my internet connection is going in and out here for a second. All right, I don't know what that was. It just dipped all of a sudden. All right, so we got our image here. Oh, and I actually have my church's picture here. So actually, let's go ahead and use my church's picture here, because I forgot I actually did this at church earlier today. So let's bring this over. Here's an aerial shot I did it of our church. I just went, there's my car right there, well, my old car, and I just pretty much just went as high as my drone legally allows me to go, which is 391 feet. So I just went directly up, looked down, and just taken the shot. Gives really a unique look to it. So also in here, I should have our church's logo. So all I'm going to do is, this is just for an intro for our video. This is a lot different than what I normally have, but this is for those who don't have anything. So what's the first thing we want to do? We want to present who we are. So that's a picture of our church and a name. If you don't have a logo, you can just use text. Now, one of the tricks that I have learned, and is you can see this in any movie or any TV show once I tell you this, the human eye is attracted to those things which are in focus. That's why a lot of times now you have your depth of field. That's where everything else is out of focus, would naturally makes your eye be attracted to the thing that is in focus. And that's what we're going to do to try and draw attention to the name of the church. So here in the background in Canva, I'm just going to come in here under adjust, and I'm going to change it to blur a little bit. And that's a little bit too much. I'm going to do it at about 4. And if you notice, it just stands out just a little bit more. And I'm going to put a vignette around everything, make all the corners dark. And just like that, it stands out just that much more. And I'm going to enlarge this, super enlarge this here. And I'm going to put it about in the center. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a shape, because I'm going to put a line here directly on this side. And I want it to just form some type of separation here. And I'm going to cheat by just using this box and just oversize it, so it makes it look like it's just a line. And I think my logo is a little bit too big for what I want to do. All right, so we got this line right here, and I'm gonna make a shadow, which I just make a copy of this, and then I change the color to black, and then we're gonna move it behind, so it gives a type of shadowy look to it. And let me change the transparency a little bit so I can make it more into a shadow, something like that. And let's bring this back over here. Alright, so it's just a little form of separation. Now on this side, I want to actually just put some text. I don't need to put the church's name because our logo already has the name in it, but I want to put some relevant information. So this is again what we want to be at the beginning of our video. So what information do we want to put? And this goes back to the spreadsheet, the reason why we do this. So we might want to put, you definitely want to put today's date, maybe the time if you have multiple services that are going on that day, and the title and whoever's preaching. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't need this. So let's come in here to the title of our service. Let's copy that. And let's see if we don't have anything that really matches what we want in some pre-made text. I'm just going to do some regular text here. Let's paste our title. And let's move this over here. And obviously this is going to be our main focus. So we got to bump the size of this up. And let's change the font of this. Let's do that. And I think that's good right here. Let's make that bold. Or is it up bold already? I think there is a bold for this font. So that's why it didn't work when I clicked bold. Oh well, we'll just go with this. Alright, and then let's also, I'm just going to copy this. It makes it easier. Then I'm going to change the size of this down. And let's put today's date. And right before that, let's put who's preaching. Dr. James L. Sells. And whatever information should we put? I don't think we need scripture. So I think this might be good. Alright, so we got this information here. Now what I'm going to do is, oh, didn't want to move that. Let's go here and let's copy this, and we're going to do a shadow with this one as well. But this time we're going to change this to white. And then let's move this up. Now I'm going to use my arrow keys to be real fine with the adjustment. And then this one, we're going to do the same thing. Copy that, make it in white. Let's move it over here. Just a little adjustment so that the shadow sticks out. Let's highlight this and let's move it down a little bit. I don't know why I did this at the same time. Actually, you know, let's do it. Let's do away with this. It doesn't look the way I really want it to. But what I will do is kind of just do an entire background instead. So let's make this the same color as this. And we want this to stick out. So let's make this super huge. And we're going to change the transparency. So it's just a little bit. Let's change the outline to like that. Alright, so now what we just need to do is move this backwards to be behind our text. So something really simple like that, and that's all we're going to do as our intro. So let's go ahead, and it already gave us our name, so let's just download that. And that's what we're going to use as our thumbnail for the beginning of our intro to our video. Alright, now if you make a bunch of these in your filing cabinet, what you want to do is actually start making a folder for these. So if you have and you can name it whichever way you want to. So like if I come in here, and I can come in here and just make another folder called thumbnails or whatever, especially if you have multiple services, you can drag it in there if you want. So let me move this over here. This is where our image is going to be. All right, let's remember what that is, and the copying is almost done. So we're going to come in here and do a new project. So first thing I'm going to do is add a clip. Ads. Ugh. All right, so in here, Movie Maker, you could have made a title yourself, but I think it only lets you put text. It doesn't let you put images on the free version. Now, if you buy the paid version, you can have more, open more doors with that one, do more features. I'm not doing that. Kind of want to focus on open source or free software, which is why I'm using this version, as well as why I use DaVinci Resolve. That will give me more function, but it's still free. So I'm going to go in here, add a photo. Let me navigate to where that was. That was under here. Today's date. There's my image. And that's where we're starting out. Now that the videos are done, again, I'm not going to do this here because the files that we have are super humongous in comparison to the other ones. So actually, I'll just try and do one. I think it's going to actually time out on me. But let's go in here and let's pick the smaller file, which is just a sermon. So it doesn't support the format that I normally use, but you would normally just put this in here. And let's see if I can find a video to use. I think I haven't deleted last Sunday's services yet. And actually I did. Let's see. What can I use? Let me use this one. All right. So this would be a good example to where I just imported that. That would be your sermon. And you could do the same thing if you want to have a closing credits where you want to say something about like, hey, your church's address, your website, something like that. Put that at the end. And then you just do save video. That's it. That's how simple that was. And even to the point where once you do this, you can just let the computer run. Again, I don't know what type of computer you're using. Even if it took a day, like our stuff used to take us 8 hours to render this thing. We would just render it and then come back tomorrow, put it on a disk, upload it, do whatever, and you're done. So it doesn't take a lot to actually improve the quality of what you have from a video standpoint. It's all of the mindset behind it. You just have to think, what TV shows do you enjoy? What shows do you watch? And try and mimic that as much. Because they said what's the best form of flattery is copying. Because you are impressed with what you've seen and you're trying to get to that. So again, you won't fail your class by copying somebody else or another church if they're doing something that you like. It's just the highest form of a compliment. All right. So now that our stuff is done, I'm going to move over to what I normally do, which is in DaVinci Resolve. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth because I run this on dual monitors. So I have, let me go over here so y'all can see. So like right now we're on monitor number 1 and then have monitor number 2 over here. So as you can see, that was the chat that I was looking at. So we're going to be going back and forth here, and let me actually close this here so that I can actually work. It actually was a most recent update on DaVinci Resolve, so if you are using it, make sure you go to blackmagicdesign.com and download the recent update. I think it was kind of stability updates mainly is what it was done, but always try and stay on the most updated, most secure version of software or whatever that you're using. And also in the chat as well, or in the comment section, if you're doing a different type of strategy on how you organize your stuff, leave it down there, because like this is meant to be a community for us to learn from each other. So I read all the comments, and so any type of input on if you're doing it something differently, I love to know, and I'm sure the community would like to know. Are you doing everything in the cloud, or everything stored there? Do you have an offloaded site? Do you actually physically have a filing cabinet where the stuff is stored? I mean, hey, we used to use that. I think at my church, they still have a couple of cabinets full of tapes somewhere. So, hey, it is what it is. You have to work with what you got. All right, so here in DaVinci Resolve, and see, I have my stuff organized this way. And we're going to do a new project, which is today's date. And literally, I'm just doing the same stuff that I just did in Movie Maker. All right, so I am here in my window here, and I think my camera is in the way. No, it's not. So I'm just going to go here, go to my media drive, import the media, and we're going to do that same thing. So we have our screenshot, which I'm not going to use because we actually have an intro. So we have our services here. I'm going to bring that in. And we have our pre-made intro, which again, like I said, was made with an Envato template a few years ago, which I am looking at updating here soon, if I can find it. Outro, or did I have it somewhere else? Oh, there it is. Outro. And then we also have lower thirds that are made. I don't think I need to use those today. I think it's our choir was the gospel chorus today. Pastor Sales preached today. And I think I'm actually going to have an extra one. The choir did a song. I think I'm going to pull that out and make that into a song. So, all right, I got everything here. Now what I'm going to do is Control N for our timeline. We have full service. Then we have another Control N for online. And like I said, I've actually found the settings to where now I can make the podcast from here by itself, just the audio. So that saves me one more step. But I do need to figure out how to add metadata to our content, meaning that we store the name of everything inside the file. And one more is Center of My Joy, which is the song that we're gonna call out and make that into its own separate thing for our choir. So let's cut back over here, and we need to change the setting to this and for tabs, so that way I can open up multiple. So it already did Center of My Joy. Change this to online, change this to full, and we're going to do all our work in full and work backwards so that we don't have to do all this stuff all over again. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to pull over our intro outro here. And like I said, what we do is we fade out for 1 second from here. 1 second. Let's put our cursor right there, as close to it as possible. I turned off the snap tool just so I can get there. Press the letter M to make a marker, and then I push that up to make a new track on here. And hold on, my camera is in the way, so let me turn that off here. Alright, so pretty much all I'm doing here is moving this. So I did my intro and outro, fade out for 1 second, and then made a marker, which makes everything snap to here. So let's go over to here. We're going to go and let's find out where the service started in our video. Let's double click. So I think we started recording really early. So right here should be good, because that's a whole lot of stuff we don't necessarily need to have in here. So that's the beginning of our service. So let's go ahead and we're just going to drag this over to our timeline. Drag this over to our timeline, and it will snap to that marker. And let's just fade the audio in for 1 second so it's a smooth transition. So if we come over here and play this, all right, that's smooth. All right, now this is how simple this is, because I don't really need to do anything major, because the whole goal is, when you do this, is in your production, is to try and get as much stuff done live so that you don't have a lot of post-production to be done. Mainly my post-production might be to enhance the audio or something like that if the audio is bad and I need to increase the levels of something that may have been missed during the mix on the live show. I mean, when we were live in service. So as you can see, the volume is kind of low here at this beginning part, and then it picks up right about here. So I'm going to adjust that volume here, which is, I make a cut, so there are 2 different clips, and then I can just increase the volume right here. I think about 4 should be enough. Alright, and that's it. Now this is the song. Actually, I think it's going to get separated, and that is, I don't have a plate. Oh no, I was going to say I didn't have a lower third for him, but this is a deacon, not a minister, so I don't have a plate for him. Alright, so let's find where the song starts. Let me crank my volume up. Alright, so right there. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to come back to this, I'm going to cut this video right here, and I'm going to color code it, right click, and I'm going to pick a color so I'll know that this is the one that I'm going to make an edit for. All right, and because how we cut this, I'm going to now drag over. Oh, I didn't show y'all where I did that. Let me turn this back off. So I just went here, right clicked on this, changed my clip color here. Let me actually just undo it so you can see everything. So I came in here, did the razor blade tool, click right here. That's right before the song started. Then right clicked, change the color to just something different so I know this is what is going to go in this timeline when I'm done. So because this is also the gospel chorus and it's going to be called out as a separate song, what I want to do is skip forward just a little bit to about right here, because I have all this white space, so the lower third will stand out very easily. And we have our pre-made lower thirds here that I'm just dragging over. So if you see them, that's what we loaded right here, our lower thirds here. And if we, actually, I'm cutting back over. Let me cut back over here, and I'm just going to play it so you can see how it looks. All right, so this is fine, but I'm going to just move it over just a little bit. And that's on the x-axis to right there. And actually, let's move it up. Nah, I'm doing a little bit too much here. Let's move that back over here, and that'll be good. All right, now I only need to list it once. I don't need to have the lower third multiple times because this is a short song. It's like 3 minutes. So one lower third is good. All right, so now because we did the stop in the middle of our service, we have 2 clips. This starts right. This whole thing is nothing but the sermon, which makes this super, super easy to do. So I'm just going to drag this over and put it right beside the last clip here, and I'm gonna right click on this one and change this to my typical orange for services. Now the one thing is, because we stopped here, we might need to do a transition, so let's go ahead and play this just to see what it looks like. All right, let's see. All right, so it's a slight little move right there. So all I'm going to do is right click on this, and I'm just going to do a dissolve for, oh, it won't let me do it. So what I'm going to do is, how can we do this? All right, I am going to move this up. Let's zoom in a little bit more. And I'm going to just drag this over by about a second. So right about here. And I'm just going to dissolve this in for 1/10 of a second, as well as the audio. Actually, I need to move it over a little bit more to right here so that this lines up right there. And then I'm going to fade the same thing out for 10. So now let's see what it looks like. It went so fast you didn't even notice it. Now pay attention to right here. That's where you'll see the transition, but it's so fast that you don't notice it. So that's cool. So now what we need to do is probably look at the audio. As you can see, it's really low until it gets about to this part. So I got the razor blade. Shortcut for that is the letter B as well, if you wanted to see that. So I just made a cut right there, and then I'm just going to enhance this audio because it's kind of low. And we're just going to look throughout the rest, and the audio is good for everything else, probably except for the ending. It needs to be enhanced just a little bit. So let's come back here, make another cut to right there, and let's enhance the audio here. Do that to about 8. All right. And now, just like we did before, we're going to put the lower third over here. So let's find a good place to place it. So right here is a very, very, very good shot because it's a clear photo right here. So let's go ahead and move our lower third right over to there. And when we play it, which is very good, easy to see because of that background. So now all we're going to do is come in here and we're going to copy that lower third and put it, it's already close to the beginning, close to the end, and in the middle. So let's put it right about here and then right about here. Now today my pastor didn't really walk around a lot, so but we still need to spot check to make sure these show up well where we place them. So this is our second one that we did. Alright, that still looks fine, and like I said, he didn't move. Alright, so see, works fine because he didn't really move. Now all we got to do now is add our outro again, which is the equivalent of the title stuff that we did in Movie Maker. Let's zoom in so we can see it. So I want to actually get him right when he's leaving. So let's find, hold on, let me, so you can see what I'm doing over here. So let's scrub through here and see right when he's leaving. Alright, so right here is where I want to make the cut. So let's go over here, let's cut that out because we don't need any of this last part here. And we're going to do the opposite of what we normally do. So if we zoom in some more, let's fade this out by 1 second. And we make a marker right there. And we drag this and see it snaps right there. That's why I like doing the markers. Let's fade this out by 1 second. And then we're going to fade in the audio because it's, we're doing the opposite. So instead of, we normally would fade this in, but since this is already here, this is fading out into this. So if we play it, let me switch over so you can see. If we play it now, see it does the exact same thing, but you just can't tell. And that's it. And like I said, this makes this really easy because of how we had the service cut. It makes it easy for us to know where it is. So for the services, let's go ahead and highlight all of this. This is just a sermon. Control C, copy. We're going to go to our online timeline, add our intro, outro. Let's zoom in here. And we're going to fade this in for, fade it out 1 second. Fade this out for 1 second. And where our cursor is, we just hit Control V to paste. So all the stuff we already did is already here. And what we need to do is, I did this backwards. Oh, because since we did this backwards, we need to change this. So instead of fading out, we need to fade this in by 1 second, which I think it already is. If we zoom in, it is. So let's highlight everything. And we need to drag it all to right there. And then we're going to fade this out. So if we play it, oh, that was too fast. Let's play it again. Alright, so it still does the same thing. So we're good. So that's done. This part is done. And now we're going to go back to our full and we're just going to pull just the choir song. Let's copy that. Now we haven't done a song here in a while, so let's go ahead and paste this here. So we got the song. Now we do an actual different title bar for when we have a choir doing something. So let me cut back over to here and I need to find the placeholder that we normally do. Trying to think where we put that at. Oh, it's right here. No, it's not it. Hold on, let's do it other way. Let's go here, and I'm looking for a song that we normally, the title image that we normally use. What did I do with it? Hence the importance of, oh, I look right over it. It's right here. So let's drag that there. So we have our image to use. And this is just our transition stuff that we have. All right, so how we do this here is we just fade this in. All right, just that simple. So we're just gonna fade this in for 1 second, as well as the video. Let's drag this to right here when the music starts playing. Click in this empty space, hit the delete to move everything over. And then at the end of the song, just make sure all the extra is done. So right here, I'm gonna fade it right here. Cut this, all this extra we don't need. And because of the message in the song, we can do a long fade. So I'm gonna start fading it from right here. Oh, I didn't even let you see it, so you can see the dramatic effect of it. So when it fades out, did you feel that? Did you see how that felt? But anyway, so that's what we're gonna do with this. Now, what we need to do is, now that we got everything done, let's go over here to deliver, and let me cut over to the right screen so you can actually see. All right, so we got everything in here. So we're gonna do the choir song first because it is the shortest. I'm gonna pick our format, the location where we're gonna put it. I'm gonna put it all on the E drive. Custom name. Trying to see where the metadata would be so we can add the name into the file itself. That's mainly for the podcast. We want to save some time. But anyway, so we got this one done. We're going to add that. Then the next shortest video is just the sermon itself. So let's hit that again. So it'll carry the name over, underscore today's date. Oh, that is fine. Oh, let me take that back. This is what I had to do. This is audio only. So now, this is what we're going to use for the podcast. I'll do that as an MP4 AAC, and then this is 128. It's 128, and that's still on the E drive. So now I'm gonna actually call this podcast. Add that one. Actually, this should have gone faster than this one. Now let's go back here and then do this one. Then we'll do the full service, which is what we load onto our on demand. Here, we add that. And then these are all the projects that we have. So we're just going to highlight, well, let's hit save just in case. Highlight all of them, hit start render, and then that's mainly it. All right, so that was pretty much it. I really don't have much to go over, but I will do some upcoming videos on how to make an intro video once I get the extra footage. of what I'm going to use for that template that we got off of Invatu, which is free this month. So again, thank y'all guys for watching. Just know that we're here live every Sunday to share some of our post-production tips, and we're on the chat, monitor everything. If you like this video, I appreciate a like. Consider subscribing, and if you're a subscriber, hit that bell notification. That way you get notified when we come out with new videos like this. And this is AJ, and we will see you next time.